It's me, it's Queen Oset Haru, and welcome to another exciting edition of Ask an Aquarius. So, if you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. I got a question the other day. Might have been this morning. I got it this morning, and it was like it hit me as soon as I saw it, cause I was like, yeah, and like it just hit me. It said, "Why are Aquarius always with the wrong partner?" And I swear, like it like struck me like a bell, because I know a lot of Aquarius who have been with the wrong partners or are with the wrong partners currently. A lot of us, that's why we're single, because we don't want to be with the wrong partner. But I'm gonna tell you why a lot of Aquarius end up with the wrong partner, especially when we're young. When Aquarius is young, a lot of us are very idealistic. We're very romantic, we're very idealistic, and we think love will conquer all, and we think that everything can be healed. We have such a, especially those of us who are more positive, but even when I wasn't a positive, even when I was gray and sometimes dark, I still always believed in the power of love, in the fairy tale version of it, though. So I always believed that, like, if I met a person and they weren't exactly what I wanted, it was okay, they could be tweaked. They would heal, or they would stop, they would get over it, they would change, they would come around. Even when I was with Voldemort, I always thought things would get better. One day things will get better. It's like this now. The relationship is fucked up and he's fucked up, but one day things will get better. It's that idealistic, optimistic energy of the Aquarius when it comes to romance that gets us in trouble every time. Every time we're with somebody we don't belong with, which is very frequently, that's what it has to do with. Because Aquarius is not stupid. People be thinking that we're airheads and we're so dumb. Aquarius are one of the smartest signs in the zodiac. We are very intelligent. The problem is that we don't always listen to that intelligence, because we think things can change, things can get better. We might know a person, we usually know the person is not for us. I'm not even going to say might, we usually know. I knew Voldemort wasn't for me before I even started seeing him. Knew it. My husband, knew my husband wasn't for me. Knew that. But we talk ourselves into things with that optimism. He's not the right guy for me, but it'll be okay. But he'll change. But we'll work on it and things will get better. And this is very common, especially for an Aquarius woman. This is common for women, period, but especially for an Aquarius woman. Because a lot of times women have this belief in their minds that if I just work on it, or if I just love him, or if I just love her, things will change. And the truth is that most of the time they don't. Most of the time you love them, you pour into them, and you end up having to walk away eventually. And you're drained from having poured into them. And what happens with the Aquarius is we do this enough times. We repeat this cycle time and time again, those of us that are hard-headed. And what ends up happening is eventually we realize, I need to not do this. When I was young, I didn't even have a list of deal breakers. I didn't, like, Aquarius are so open to different types of relationships, polyamorous relationships, open relationships, lesbian and gay relationships. We're so open to different types of relationships that I didn't even have like a list of deal breakers. It wasn't like too many things. It was very few things a person could do that I would be like, okay, this person isn't suitable. Like if they were like a murderer or a rapist or a pedophile or something like that, yeah. But if they didn't have a job, for example, or if they had a lot of kids, for example, or, some of those kind of things, that now I would not even talk to a person. If they had a whole bunch of children, I wouldn't even step. If they had, certain aspects, now they weren't working or they work sporadically, things like that. After my experiences, now I won't get involved with these things. You see what I'm saying? But back then, at 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, I thought anything was possible. Any relationship could work. Anything could be okay. Just needed to work on it. Both people have to come to the table. But see, this is the problem. That is such a flawed view. It's an idealistic view. but it's a flawed view because everybody is not going to come to the table. Everybody's not going to come like, oh, thinking like me, thinking, okay, we're going to work on this. Most people that come into the relationship, they're not thinking that. They're just thinking, I'm going to be me, you going to be you, and it'll work out some kind of way, or it won't work out, or it'll do what it do, basically, you know? So you will find a lot of Aquarius in relationships with people that they don't belong with because we have that thinking. Usually we end up leaving them though because we're not gonna hang around but so long for something like that. But that's what ends up happening. And as we get older, we have a list of deal breakers. As we get older, it's certain things we're not going to put up with. As we get older, certain conversations we're not even going to have. If somebody says something to me, I might not even respond. I just be like, and keep it moving, And it happens as we get older from having experiences. And some of us never get the point. Some of us keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. Aquarius tend to date and be in relationships with a lot of people throughout their lifetime. And those of us who are smart, towards the 30-year, 40-year mark, we start to get it and we start to do a lot better with it. But a lot of times, a lot of us in the beginning don't get it, and some of us never do. Some of us keep on dating people that aren't right for us, and just keep going and going and going and going. Now I know what works for me. I know what kind of person works for me. It's not like I have my list of deal breakers. I know what kind of person I want to be in relationship with now. I know what works. I know what kind of energy I want to take with me. For example, I don't want a pessimistic person with me. I don't want a negative person with me. I don't want a person with me who I got to cheer up all the time, who's depressed all the time, anxious all the time. I want a person who's like me, who's predominantly happy, who's healthy, who's doing their thing, who's making their dreams come true. I want a person whose energy is high energy person that is predominantly happy with their life. So I shy away from people who are the opposite of that. Now I have friends that are the opposite of that. I have clients that are the opposite of that, and I'm always there to lend them a hand. But I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody like that. You see? So things have changed over the years. When I was 21 or 22, I would date somebody who was anxious or depressed. I would date somebody who had, these kinds of, I wouldn't see that as being a big deal. I would just be like, oh, well, they just need some medication, or they just need some help, or they just need some therapy. They'll be okay. But now I know that, yeah, that could be the case, but how's that going to affect me while I'm dealing with this issue? And trying to do what I'm doing. I'm trying to live my best life. So I'm trying to live my best life, and I got to help you and drag you along. So it's certain things I'm just not going to do anymore. And I realize that as time progresses. So as the Aquarius gets older, we get wiser, and the chances of us ending up with somebody that we don't belong with becomes less and less. But earlier in life, I started dating at about 13 years old, literally. And between 13 and I would say 30, I dated a lot of people that were not right for me, period. I think every last person I've ever been with wasn't right for me, honestly. But between 13 and 30, it happened frequently. And then after that, I started to catch on, like, okay. And so every person after that was progressively better. And then I got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to date no more. I'm going to just chill. I'm going to chill. I'm going to work on me. And if God sends me somebody, then I'm going to accept it. And if she doesn't, I'm just going to enjoy this world because I have a beautiful, beautiful life. And I am good. So if God sends me somebody to share it with, I'm going to accept them. And if she doesn't, I'm going to accept all the other gifts that she's given me. And that's just how it is. I don't even, like back then I used to be on the party line. I used to be online talking to people. I just stopped. I was just like, I'm good. If it happens, it happens, But that's why we end up with the wrong person, because we have that mindset. We're open. We're so open-minded. If you look at Aquarius, it says in the book that we're open to different relationships. We're open to different kinds of relationships. We're open to unconventional relationships. So we're open-minded, in this case, to a fault. Because we're so open-minded that we don't realize that some things just ain't gonna work. Some things are just not going to come together, and you have to get that. Like, for example, if you're in a relationship, like at one point in time, I would be with somebody who was in a relationship with somebody else because I figure, like, so who cares? But at the same time, I'm not thinking you're in a relationship with somebody who's with somebody else, like in the case of Voldemort. And if that person ever becomes single, you now are the one getting cheated on. You now go into that space. And I didn't think about stuff like that. I didn't think about like what that meant. It meant, it was, to me, it was like, oh, it's just love. Love makes things happen. We'll fall in love and we'll work everything out. It was just such an idealistic mindset that took years of wisdom and experience to really work out. So if you see an Aquarius and they're in a bad relationship or they're with the wrong partner, 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. Also, Aquarius have attachment issues, either being attached or being unattached. It's either one or the other. So some people, some Aquarius become attached to their partner because they need them. Like I said before, codependency. So sometimes an Aquarius stays with their partner because they need them, but that's not going to last. And Aquarius is going to break free. I don't care how much they need you. Eventually, when the circumstances present themselves, they are going to break free. So sometimes that'll last for a little while. Some Aquarius are users and they'll hang around a person just because they're taking care of them or they need something from them, especially a dark Aquarius. A dark Aquarius will use you into, a dark Aquarius will use you as long as you let them. So a lot of times what ends up happening is that dark Aquarius will use somebody that they really don't want to be with, but they need them. And then eventually when they get tired of it, they'll find somebody else to take care of them and they'll go flying off somewhere. So that's why we end up with the wrong people, positive or negative. A lot of times we end up with the wrong person. It's that belief that everything is okay, that belief that we can do whatever we want, that belief that love will conquer all that. But those beliefs, those idealistic beliefs that many of us hold, that's what gets us in trouble. So Aquarius, if you are listening to me and any of this is ringing true for you, realize that you are correct in some aspects of how you think and feel about this. You're right. Love is a very powerful force, but there are some things that a person has to have when they come to the table. Purpose is one of those things. They have to come to the table able to be a full-fledged partner. If you have to carry them in any way, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, if you got to carry the other person, it's not a reciprocal relationship, Aquarius, and it's not going to work. And you can spend as much time as you want to trying to idealistically make it work, but what's going to end up happening is you're going to realize exactly what I just said, and you're going to ghost. You're going to leave. That's going to end up happening. So if you really want to keep this from happening to you, make sure in the very beginning that the person is suitable before you start going down that road. And some of you have this part down pat because I've talked to a lot of you, and some of you are just like me and y'all just like, I'm not dating nobody, I'm good. But when you do want to date, just make sure that the person is suitable. Make sure that they're stable emotionally, mentally, financially. They need to be stable. Some people out here, I'm very clear, are not dateable. They're not employable and they're not dateable. So if a person is not dateable, don't waste your time, Aquarius, thinking that you can fix them, you can help them heal, things will get better, they'll grow, because baby, they're probably not. Seriously, I've tried this more than once, and that's what Aquarius, when we do get it, is from trial and error. And then we like, oh, now I got it. So listen to me. Don't go through all the shit that I went through to get this information. Take the information that I suffered to get and use it for yourself. Okay? See you later.